From the News Channel 5 network, this is Sportsline.
Well, hey there, Nashville. Good evening. Welcome to Sportsline. I'm John Burton. It's been a while since I've been in this chair hosting Sportsline. Good to be back. Filling in for Steve Lehman tonight. And we got a great show for you coming up after our first break. Jonathan Hutton will join us. Jonathan Hutton, of course, from Titans Radio and 104.5 The Zone, the midday 180. And, of course, is our Titans analyst and contributor over on News Channel 5 Sports on Sunday Sports Central during the Titans season and beyond. We're going to talk about the Titans season coming to an end, what's next for them, what went wrong this season, what went wrong in particular Sunday in the AFC wildcard playoff loss 20-13 to the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to get into that. Also, we'll get into some Preds talk as well as the Preds get set to open their season tomorrow against the Columbus Blue Jackets at Bridgestone Arena. Unfortunately, no fans will be allowed in yet. They're hoping. We spoke with Sean Henry, Greg Pogue, and myself did yesterday on our show on WNSR Sports Radio, the Greg Pogue and John Burton Show. Sean Henry, the president and CEO of the Nashville Predators, joined us, and he said the hope is to get fans in there maybe as we go into February. But for now, for the first at least a couple of weeks, maybe month of the regular season, no fans will be attending home games for the Nashville Predators as COVID cases unfortunately continue to rise. So we will get into plenty of that. Your phone calls, of course, always welcome here on Sportsline. As I said, great to be back, and I'll just give you my thoughts real quick on the Titans' loss to the Baltimore Ravens. You know, when you look at what happened, the Titans were up 10-0 and looked to be well in command and forced a third down and long from for the Baltimore Ravens. And, Lamar Jackson made a play, got out of the pocket. He was being rushed by Dory Jackson on the corner blitz, a very well-timed play for the Titans defense. But Jackson able to get out of the pocket and deliver downfield to Mark Andrews for 17 yards and a first down. And that really allowed the Ravens to kind of take a deep breath and realize, hey, we can get back in this game. They get a field goal, and then they get a touchdown on that spectacular touchdown run by Lamar Jackson. And, the Titans offense went stone cold after that. They looked good 2 of their first 3 drives as they get 10 points. And then after that, just 209 yards for the game, just 13 points for the game, both season lows. And you didn't expect that from a Titans offense that was historically good when you look at, 2,000-yard rusher and Derrick Henry, a 3,800-yard passer, and Ryan Tannehill, who was responsible for 40 touchdowns, a team record, nearly 2,000-yard wide receivers. But, on a day where the Titans offense struggled, you needed the defense to pick them up, and they did. For good portions of the game, right? They sacked Lamar Jackson 5 times. They only allowed 20 points. Considering how bad this defense was, and it was a bad defense this year, there's no question about it. Considering how bad this defense was, to be able to have that kind of performance against a pretty good offense led by a dynamic player who was last year's MVP, certainly you would think that would be good enough for the Titans to win that game, given that they were averaging 30 points a game on offense. But in the critical moments when the Titans needed to get those couple of stops to allow the offense another crack to either go down the field and take the lead or at least tie the game when they were down 7, they couldn't get it done. And Titans fans, your defense is a big reason why you're one and done in the playoffs. Yeah, the 11 wins are great. The division title is great. Both things that hadn't happened for the Titans since 2008. But this defense, as historically bad as it was, last in the NFL in sacks, at the bottom of the league in opponents' third down conversion rate, the fact that, the offense had to bail this defense out plenty of times, that's the reason why the Titans were one and done. If you had to pinpoint one reason. And for me, it goes back to the decision by Mike Vrabel, the head coach, not to bring in a standalone defensive coordinator. He shared duties with Shane Bowen, his outside linebackers coach, and it didn't work. I mean, we've heard Kevin Byard, their Pro Bowl safety and one of the leaders of this team, say all season long, the communication's not there. And that's a big reason why you're not advancing in the playoffs like you did last year. Sooner or later, you have to stop teams. And as you go further in the playoffs, you're going to be playing better offenses and better quarterbacks. So your thoughts on that are certainly welcome. If you want to call in and give your thoughts on this Titans season. What do you think went wrong in this game and what went wrong this season? But, you know, I'm sure Steve has talked about it the last couple of nights on this show. You know, you kind of walk that fine line of was this a successful season or was it a disappointment? On the one hand, all the things I talked about, 11 wins and a division title. On the other hand, you know, one and done in the playoffs and a really bad defense. So there will be changes this offseason. You know, you got some notable free agents, guys like Jonnu Smith, Corey Davis. What will their futures be? Daquan Jones. We don't know. We'll find out in the weeks and months ahead. We don't know what the salary cap's going to be. You know, we're told that maybe it could go down or maybe there are other revenue streams that the NFL can kind of feed off of to keep the salary cap at least where it is or maybe have it slightly go down or even increase it. We'll find out. But this is a business at the end of the day. And that's why when you're a team that fancies itself as a Super Bowl contender, as the Titans did coming into this season, and I know you fans thought that this was a Super Bowl caliber team, you know, you have to cash in when you have those opportunities because you never know. Every year is different. This locker room's not going to look the same next year as it did this year. There are going to be some people that are not going to be here, and you're going to be bringing some people in. We're going to have the draft, and we're going to have a complete off season. Hopefully, we'll have a more normal off season, unlike last year. Hopefully, there will be a training camp, an actual training camp, and a full off season program, and we'll address all that down the road. But until this defense gets better, you cannot say that the Tennessee Titans, as we sit right now, are a Super Bowl contender next year. Could they win 9-10 games? Sure. With that offense, they can win their fair share of games. But as I said, sooner or later, you have to stop people. So we'll get into that. As I said, Jonathan Hutton's going to join us in our second segment, and we'll get his thoughts on the season that just ended for the Tennessee Titans. But as one season ends, another one begins. The Nashville Predators set to open their season tomorrow night in Columbus against the Blue Jackets. A shortened 56-game regular season. Really, no preseason games. A very short training camp for the Preds. But an opportunity for head coach John Hines, who's now entering his first full season, kinda, with the Preds, to really get a look at and evaluate his team. Here's head coach John Hines of the Nashville Predators one day before the season opener.
Yeah, we're excited, Brooks. We think we've had a good camp. A lot of guys have showed well. It's been competitive. I think as coaches and management, it's good to have some tough decisions to make because that means the players really worked hard and did a good job. So we feel like we have guys in the right spots, and I think you don't necessarily want to read too much into who's where, just in the sense that there's going to be a lot of fluidity to the situations, whether it be guys that are on the 22-man roster or the taxi squad or the players that have been assigned to Chicago, right? Tentatively right now, we have them staying here in Nashville. They're going to practice at Centennial. So we have access to all the players. So we had to make some decisions for obviously for the deadline, but we feel like we have a lot of good options that will be easily accessible to us.
Kayla Anderson.
Hey, Coach, just a question for you in terms of preparation. I mean, obviously, you're worried about setting your roster over the last couple of weeks, but also preparing for the first team that you're going to play. Does it make it any easier having a team here that you're going to play back-to-back, essentially, and kind of knowing then who you're preparing for at least for 2 games?
Yeah, Kayla, it certainly does. It's, a little bit of the unknown is the fact that there were no preseason games. So, I think you have to, kind of have the tendencies of what you believe, they've done in the past and what Torts has and what Columbus is. I think, what type of team they are, what type of identity they are. There could be slight tweaks or changes to certain things that they do just because you haven't had the opportunity to scout preseason games, but to prepare for one opponent. And as you said, you're going to have lots of the same team for 2 games. I think preparation wise is a little bit more, efficient than it is in sometimes that 82 game schedule where you're prepping for a team that you haven't either seen or you haven't seen them for 25, 26, 30 games. So this should be a good setup.
Adam Bingen.
Good afternoon, John. Now that we're out of training camp, I guess, are you able to provide more information as to Victor Arvidsson's absence, and do you expect him to play tomorrow?
Yeah. Victor just had a little tweak yesterday, and today he was fine. He worked out. We just held him out today just to make sure everything was good, and we anticipate him being in the lineup tomorrow.
Chris Harris.
Just curious to know, since the schedule is shortened to 56 games, and you guys have talked about a lot about how it's going to be important to have a fast start and all of that stuff. Why do you think your team is prepared to come out swinging based on what you've seen in training camp?
I think it starts with our mindset coming into training camp prior to getting on the ice. Lots of the things that we had talked about, as I've said, we did try to use the downtime prior to camp of, okay, what's our mentality going to be? What's the identity we want to have? What are the things that we're going to value as a group? And that was set prior to camp. And then camp was the opportunity to take what we said we were going to do and what we want to be and put it into action. And we feel like we did that. We've had extremely good days. The players' energy level has been good. They've responded well when we've pushed them. I think that guys come into camp ready to go, and all you can do is control what your preparation is. And from our preparation, we feel like every day that we got better and we got prepared. So that's all we can do. So I think from a mentality standpoint, practice standpoint, fitness, identity, all those things you can control, we've worked on those, and now it's time to put them to the test. And then we have that opportunity starting tomorrow, and there's going to be a good result or there's going to be a bad result, and then we need to continue to be able to build that. But as far as our preparation, we feel ready to play.
Michael Gallagher.
Hi, John. I'm just curious how difficult it was deciding what to do with some of the younger guys, such as Tolvanen and Trennan, and even though he wasn't at camp, Philip Tomasino.
Yeah, what I think the beauty of what's going on in these situations, as I said, is I think you have to look at the active roster and the taxi squad as one, because you have the ability to go up and down. Those players can practice with the team every day. So we feel like guys are in positions where they should be based on training camp and some things that they've proven to us. We'll see what happens with Philip when he comes back. I mean, he's been quarantined for a while, so let's get him up and running and see where his game's at. Tolvy's committed. He's had a good camp. He's made the taxi squad. He's, there's no saying that a guy in the taxi squad that's listed there today doesn't mean they won't be in the lineup tomorrow, because you have that flexibility. So we feel like we have guys in good spots, and we feel like we have access to all the players.
There you have it. Predators head coach John Hynes on the eve of his team's regular season opener. Actually, all games were regular season, no preseason games. They had a couple of inter-squad scrimmages over the weekend, but no preseason games. So they're going to hit the ice and do it for real tomorrow night in Smashville. No fans in attendance, unfortunately, as we said, for at least the first month of the season or so, but they will drop the puck for real tomorrow night against the Columbus Blue Jackets at Bridgestone Arena to get this 56-game season finally underway in the National Hockey League. In fact, 5 games going on tonight in the NHL. So tonight officially opening night for the league. Tomorrow night opening night, of course, for the Preds. All right, time for our first break. When we come back, Jonathan Hutton from Titans Radio and 104.5 The Zone is going to join us via Zoom. We'll talk all about the Titans season coming to an end, what to expect, and everything else going on in national and local sports. Stay with us. Sportsline continues right after this.